I'd like to
Lorraine,
welcome, first of all, you to this session,
this is
and of
great.
course, a big embrace with kisses and hugs from me to everybody that's joined this session. And we've still got people coming in, but we'll begin. And why are we here? We're here to take a journey through the jazz brain, Greg Abate. Now, I don't know if even Greg knows what's going on in his
Is
brain.
this going to be painful?
No,
But,
no,
I mean,
it's not like a
that sounds
lobotomy.
like really weird going through my brain.
We're going through your brain. So what Greg and I discussed this recently, and oh look, they're still coming in. 28 of us now. We thought, wouldn't it be nice if during this session we could have a mix of conversation. I'll be interviewing Greg about his life and his music and about jazz. And wouldn't it be great if we can have a bit of live music as
Indeed.
well? So we're going to have
Larry,
a blend of live music. I'm also going to play a couple of tracks from a YouTube video with Greg from a gig last year. So there'll be a blend of some recorded
what,
stuff from last year, some live stuff which will be solo from Greg and us in conversation. And there's a chat box on here, so if you've got any kind of comments along the way, please use it. And I will a couple of times pause the interview for any kind of questions and answers from Greg as we go along. So it should be fun.
this is my first time I've done this sort of thing, so I'm
Yeah,
overwhelmed with the amount of people there, and I try to keep track of ju- communicating with everybody and not leaving people out that I love to see
between
because I
us,
only,
Greg,
huh?
between us, we'll answer every question that could exist. And so, Greg, you were saying you're a bit of a Zoom virgin, but so
Yes.
hang on tight, and we'll get to the climax later, and you'll be feeling satisfied by the end. I don't know what that kind of.
Oh, okay. I hope everybody else is doing well.
So I'm sure they are. So I want to talk. I wanted to say as well. I think some of the people here, probably most, will be jazz fans and Greg Abate fans. Some of you actually may be also musicians. I know I can see a few musicians here as well. And I think this conversation will be of interest to people, whether you love jazz, whether you love Greg, or whether whether as you're interested in music or just jazz in general. What this is really about, I think, is if you're a human being, you're going to be enjoying being here because we're talking about life and we're talking about jazz. Greg, we did mention that we're going to look into your brain and it won't be painful. You might be interested to know that at the moment around the world, lots of neurologists are actually doing serious scientific studies about what's going on inside the brains of jazz musicians. And they're taking jazz musicians, and they have to play an instrument as they go through a brain scanner. And there's all these kind of results that are coming out. But I'm not going to bore you with any of that because what we're going to
Well,
do,
that's really interesting.
it's like a live brain.
I'd be interested to
Yeah,
maybe I can tell what happened when I was like 9 years old. Maybe there's some memory stuff there when I was playing clarinet.
yeah. It'll tell you everything. It's all stored in your brain. So today we're going to get into Greg's head, and it reminded me. I don't know if any of you've seen a film. Greg, have you seen the 1966 film called Fantastic Voyage?
No.
In that film, they took a group of scientists in a submarine and they shrunk them down to microscopic level and injected them inside a human being, and they explored the inside of a person. So everybody on this call today, you're like those scientists. I'm going to shrink you down right now, and we're going on a journey into Greg's body. Now, we are going to focus mostly on the brain, but as Greg will reveal to you soon, the idea of being a jazz musician is not just about this stuff. It's about the heart as well as the mind. So we're going to explore Greg's beautiful heart as well as Greg's beautiful mind. So let me say a
I
few
sure
words
do.
about Greg, and then we're going to start some conversations with Greg. So for those that don't know Greg, he is amazing. Um, and I'm going to put it out there right at the beginning, Greg, because people that meet you in real life, and even now looking at your beautiful face through the screen, don't realise that you're a man of quite mature years. Can I tell them your birthday?
Sure.
Because it's amazing. So Greg I think, was born on the 31st of May, 1947. So that makes Greg, if I'm correct, 73 years old. And I think when we hang out together, Greg, I think you're like half my age. You're running around like a crazy guy. You play all these notes. You're so
Yeah.
creative, and you obviously have jazz is clearly some medicine for eternal life. So he's very. I mean, Greg, your career goes back, right back to the 70s, I guess. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And I
in
know
70s.
and I know many people know of you
Yeah.
from the very early days when you played with Ray Charles band in the Artie Shaw Orchestra and many other great bands. And I mean, just you will fill in the gaps in a minute, but I mean, for those of you that haven't heard it, you're also really well known for your recent work. And I know in 2016
Hey, Tony.
you recorded with
Tony's holding up an album as my first only LP without boundaries.
There you
1981.
go.
Yeah.
When did you record that, Greg?
In Bristol, in Warren, Rhode Island, 1981.
Okay,
You can
that's
check.
cool.
Can anybody see that? Because I don't. Or is it?
Yeah, they can see that.
Yes.
They can
Okay.
see that, Greg. It's cool.
Yeah, I was I had a fusion band back then. It was kind of like really high energy band, and we did that, and it was really a nice thing because of the sentiment of the words there.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. So there's an early album there, and I was going to say also in the room here today with us. I mean, some people know you very well. I don't know if some people are here that don't know about you, and they only kind of came on because they heard about this event. And I think whether you know Greg or not, we're going to find out so much more over the next half an hour or so. And I just wanted to say, as you said before, we're going to talk about your history and the future. But as you said before, next month you're recording with Kenny Barron, which is just an amazing accolade, and his trio. But we'll talk more about that in a second. So, Greg, first of all, let me formally welcome you. How are you today, Greg Abate?
Good. I'm really good. I had a pretty good night last night, but got up early to do this, and I've been feeling pretty good. Thank you.
Good, and it's nice and early for you. You had to get up. Have you had your breakfast yet?
Well, I don't usually. I had a couple of espressos and some water.
Good. So listen, Greg. What I'd like to do, by way of introduction now, is to play just a short clip from one of Greg's gigs last year, just to give you the feeling of the love and the passion and the energy of Greg's playing with a quartet. We're going to do a clip that lasts about 3 minutes, and what I've suggested I'm going to play. It's from a gig last year that Greg did at the place called Cafe Lena in Saratoga Springs in New York, and Greg was playing with the Chuck Lamb Trio, and it was only last year you made the gig, and there's a song that, because Greg is an amazing saxophonist and a flautist and composer, and this is a piece I think that you wrote on the chord sequence of Softly as the Morning Sunrise, and it's
Right.
Take the Kroll Train. Is that right?
Yeah, I wrote that for a good friend of mine in the Bay Area, California, Ken Kroll.
Excellent.
Doing a lot of workshops at his high school through the years, and he commissioned a couple of big band shots for me. He's very, very, very kind. So
Brilliant.
Take the Kroll Train.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to play just a 3-minute clip from this particular gig, because I think it sums up Greg's energy and passion so beautifully.
Thank you.
Amazing. So I just thought I'd give you that little clip. So that's Greg Abate
Thank
in
you.
action. I mean, beautiful, beautiful. So Greg,
Yeah.
what
Yes.
I wanted to talk about now they've heard you and they've heard the passion and beauty of your playing. I just wanted to kind of go.
Not every tune's like that though.
I know that's why I love that song because because yeah, I know sometimes it's not so, bah, but I thought what a way to wake you up and
Yeah.
everybody else.
Chuck Lamb is the pianist. He's with the Brubeck brothers now. He's doing the with the Brubeck. He's playing
Oh, really?
Dave
That's cool.
Dave's well Dave's songs, and
Yeah,
that was Aaron Israel on drums, and it was Tom Menigon on bass.
brilliant.
Mhm.
So Greg, I was going to ask you to take us right back to the beginning.
Okay.
I want to know your jazz story, and I was thinking people kind of know you, as I said before, kind of from the '70s onwards, and I don't know how you would summarize, if you like, your jazz for you while you were in your '20s, when you were in your
Mhm.
'30s, your '40s. How has it changed
Well,
over the decades for you?
just I think mostly with the music and in dealing with humans beings and just having a lot more friends and more people in my life. But I started off in high school, junior high school, playing clarinet, and went through high school with that, and then alto saxophone, and then to Berkeley School of Music at the time in Boston before it became college music. It was like studying like people like Charlie Mariano and Herb Pomeroy and all these great jazz artists that were, pretty iconic in their own sense with their playing. And then I moved out to Los Angeles and was playing out there lived out there for a few years, playing in different parts of the West Coast. We drive from LA to play in Vegas and different places, drive back, and 6 nights on Sunset Strip, a place called Filthy McNasty's. I was playing with different groups, and mostly it was like, let's see, it was a lot of Motown. I was playing a lot of hard driving things, and um, record copy bands, with playing like Sly and the Family Stones, and James Brown tunes, War, all those bands, Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Yeah,
There's a lot of hard playing, and I think I built a lot of stamina for playing that way. And of course, that time there was in my early 20s, like probably 21, 22, and then 23 and 24. And then at 25, I auditioned for Ray Charles' band, and I got that gig for 2 years with Ray, lead alto, and started playing flute. I drove up to California with three other musicians. One of them is on the screen here, Steve Faber. He played trombone, and there was a trumpet player and a baritone sax player. And we drove to Los Angeles from Massachusetts in 3 days we didn't stay anywhere. We just slept in the car and switched drivers. And so yeah, that was quite a journey to get there, my first time. So that was like getting there. So,
and
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 then
that
I guess that with Ray Charles' band, I started playing flute because I had to play some parts that were written in the book of the alto sax, and traveled all over Europe, and we went to Japan and all different countries.
brilliant. I was going to say, Greg, in a sense, you haven't changed because I've known you probably for the last decade, and you're always on the road. That's why I think you stay so energized and young at heart because you're just continually on the road, hustling for
Well,
gigs and doing.
well, yeah,
It's brilliant.
on the road, yeah, but not all
Brilliant.
the time, but a lot of times, and like sometimes more than others.
Yeah.
And this July, I missed UK. I'm supposed to go fly on the 6th and come back on the 26th, which is a real. I had a really full tour,
I know.
and that went by. I was home and I said, "Gee, it's the end of July, and I can't believe that the month's gone." It was I missed a lot this year. Of course,
Yeah,
like most of us all,
yeah,
you know.
we missed you a lot. And going back to your kind of your story, uh, would you say that what are the particular highlights if you think back over the last,
Right.
even last 20 years
Wait,
in terms of the kind of gigs that you've done and the people you've been playing with? What are some of your highlights?
Gee, um, there's people like Elvin Jones. I'm playing with different people that I played once, different festivals. They have a rhythm section like Hank Jones with Elvin and Herb Ellis. And I mean, the names go on. I want to drop names, but like I play with so many great players. It's like um, different gigs. They'd be there as the rhythm section, and Lionel Hampton Festival, this particular one. But I played like, JVC Festival, a lot of different European festivals in France, England, and Italy and Spain. And I mean, the names, it's amazing that I had the pleasure of playing with these people that, Phil Woods, and Alan Barnes, Bruce Adams,
Yeah, yeah,
Tony Bennett. Yeah. Well, I wasn't with Tony Bennett, but the Artie Shaw Band was backing, doing Tony Bennett for like a week, and
yeah.
then Vic Damone, and a different vibe, Rosemary Clooney and um, Mel Torme, So I
Brilliant.
got to play a lot of big band stuff. I've had a lot of experience, like with all the genres of jazz, like coming from like the Motown to swing,
Brilliant.
mainstream bebop, hard bop, and my
It's a great.
fusionistic. But I think that all that comes involved when I'm playing jazz now. I put all that's in me, So it's like it's rounded me out a little bit with my playing. But I'm always trying to when I'm playing jazz, it's like very intriguing to me because lately, well, the last several years, it's like more esoteric to me when I'm playing. So, but you have to keep the harmony going in your head all the time. You can't let that go. So it's like you're not really there physically
Okay.
because you have to go with it. It's not you can't be aware of where you are physically when you're playing jazz. You have to like separate that, and then when you stop playing, of course, you look and you see people up there and communicating. I love communicating with people. You know,
And I think, Greg, I think Paul's got a question.
uh,
If we can
Yeah,
hear you.
is my mic on now?
It is, yes. Hello, Paul.
Nice. That's really interesting you just said that, Greg, because when I speak to people about you, I always describe you as you are all the time, and then the way you are when you're actually playing on stage. And even on stage, you can see the difference instantly. As soon as you take the horn out your mouth, that's the person that I've spent lots of time with, and I've got to know that when you're playing, it's like every time you're
thank
in the next zone. It's amazing to see. It's a totally different animal, basically.
yeah, thank you, Paul. It's really great to do that. Yeah, we've been, playing in Liverpool a lot. You've always been a support, and I thank you for that.
Brilliant. So
Amazing to watch.
it's a good observation. And I was going to say to you, Greg, as well, in terms of the people that have the jazz musicians that have inspired you over the years, who would be in your kind of top 10 list of the people that have most inspired you, jazz musicians?
Well, definitely Phil Woods, um, Dick Johnson, great. He was the leader of the Artie Shaw Band. He was kind of a mentor to me since I was like 21, and see, we're playing with like in New York, playing a gig with Red Rodney, who was played with Parker. It was
Yeah.
that experience of playing with these people like Ray Brown and Elvin Jones. I mean, I can't say Claudio Roditi, um, playing with I look at everybody I play with. I take away something.
Good. That's good. And I'm curious to know, Greg, you mentioned a moment ago about this kind of, you called it the esoteric feeling of performing.
Yeah.
How has that changed over time? I mean, were you feeling
uh,
like 10 years ago or 20 years ago in the same way?
it's a little bit more. It's better. It's a really good gift to have, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And I was curious to know as well, in terms of how you're playing now, um, and your jazz story. I've known
Yeah.
you for about 10 years, and what do you imagine? What would you like to be doing in terms of jazz over say the next 5 years, even? Do you have any particular goals, or is it just like more, play, compose, play with great people, or is there a particular thing? Like you're recording obviously with Kenny Barron next month. Are there
Yeah.
other guys you'd like to record with as well, for example?
There are. I have no one in mind at the moment, but I was thinking of doing a quintet album sometime, and I want to do. I'm writing some new compositions, and since I've been off from playing out, I've been, writing, and my piano's here. I'm a functional pianist. I love chords and putting things together, but I have no plans with any specific players, but I want to do a hard driving quintet thing with another horn player.
Yes.
Like trumpet or trombone, or even do like alto and guitar. I like that sound. I get inspired by that Showboat album with Phil Woods live at the Showboat. They got like Phil he's the energy there,
Brilliant.
incredible. But I like playing with Phil Woods. It was like something like of being with some greatness,
Yeah, and that recording is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Maybe at this point, Greg, it would be a nice opportunity to ask you to play us a song, a live song. I think it's time we had some more music. And what would you like to play for
something that's like maybe a ballad or something that's not so high end,
Yeah, because it's early in the morning as well. You can't be kind of going too crazy over there. So what would you like to play?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of Down That Dream, maybe, or When Sunny Gets Blue, or
As You Wish.
And
Those would be great. So Greg, I'm going to invite you to stand up.
I gotta get. This is really this is different. I hope we get back to some live music, sometimes.
This is live. This is cool.
No, yeah.
We can't touch you. So everyone.
Hey.
Greg Abate.
All right. Thank you.
So, Greg.
Where was the rhythm section? You guys?
Yeah, I don't know. So, Greg, come back, come and sit down and join us again, Greg. screen. And
Sure.
thank you so
Great
much
to
for
see
that.
you all.
That was so beautiful, and it's interesting because you said, "Oh, I'll play like a ballad," but of course, the energy is also like massive, even when the pace is slow.
Yeah, and to pace. I mean, like I've learned. Well, to just go with the feeling, because if you start thinking, second guessing yourself when you're playing, like it becomes not as good
Yeah,
as it could be for me and the audience, because you have to stay in the vibe of it. So I've noticed this about things when you get caught up in saying, "Wow, I'm sounding really good." When you think about yourself, you can't think about yourself, because I've done that a few times as a younger player when I'm playing and going and seeing, "Wow, boy, am I sounding good," and then nobody claps for me solo. Like no one, there's no reaction. It's
yeah,
weird, and
yeah.
it's like a lesson. See, what are you doing, Greg? You can't. This is a voice. You got to get rid of that. Just play and be honest with it. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. And
you know,
I was going to say as well. So that's the kind of about being, I guess,
yeah. When you talk about the energy in the ballad, like if
Yeah,
you could like I was playing some double time bebop lines on the harmony of the tune. I was not going off, trying not to go off the changes, and at one point, I honestly will say that I did at the end. I was losing the harmonic end, so I try to create some sort of ending and then come back to the tune.
yeah.
I know Tommy's listening, and he knows what I'm talking about too, right, Tom?
He does. So,
Let's
and
say,
Greg, what about
yeah.
the energy? Where do you draw the energy from? Where does it come from?
Geez, I really don't know. It's just like when I start playing, it just comes into me. It's I can't answer that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well that's okay. It's that esoteric stuff, isn't it? We have no words to.
Yeah, yeah. It's a mystery, but it's a great thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
to have that I have. But
yeah, yeah.
my life has been just music.
It's beautiful. So, Greg, at this point,
No,
what?
but it's been people too, music and people.
Yeah, and I think that's of course that's the way you play. That energy is something I see you, that grows between you and the musicians live,
Yeah.
and with the audience. It's the people thing.
Right. The audience has a lot to do with it,
Yeah,
playing and people that book me, I go there and I want to really play, to be sincere.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's brilliant. So, at this point, before we do any more music or discussion, I just wanted to pause to see if anybody has any particular questions for Greg. If you do, just unmute yourself and yeah, I can see Paul's there already and anybody else. So fire away. We'll have a few minutes for questions and answers at this stage. Paul.
Yeah, there's something I've always wanted to ask you, Greg. I've seen lots of live jazz. I've seen you more than anybody else. Well, everyone else put together. And the thing I noticed at the end of each piece, you do the longest kind of finales to a piece.
Oh, yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
Is that because you're so fired up and you don't want the piece to end, you don't want to stop playing, or is it a kind of deliberate like a badge of yourself kind of thing? It's something that you do deliberately.
Yeah, it's a little of everything. It's an inspiration of like just feeling like I'm composing in the moment. The cadenza, it could be based on different chords of the tune, and it's really a lot of fun to do. But not every tune. When I was younger, I had a nickname. They called me Mr. Credenza because I would do cadenzas on mostly every tune, but like other things, musicians and friends, they give you some criticism in a constructive way that says, hey, maybe you shouldn't do it that much. And you like for criticism, I really accept criticism from who it comes from, but I've learned a lot by accepting criticism. So I try to make cadenzas every once in a while, but you say I do it a lot on gigs, Paul. Not every tune, right?
No, not every tune. I mean, I personally enjoy it, but there's been some gigs and I can see the other musicians and they're looking at the bus timetables, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, you know, the musician, like playing the condensers, like you have total freedom, you know. And I think it's really, really nice. I really love to go and do these gigs. So I have this freedom of speech, I call it,
Yeah.
Musically. And it's just the condenser. I think it's just maybe an afterthought of more composition, and then coming back to the chords and like composing is what I like to do. So I think that it's composing in the moment, which is improvisation, because when jazz musicians play, I mean, it's in the moment. It's not premeditated. I'm not thinking, okay, I'm gonna play this G sharp here when I come up, but it's like, but I will play the G sharp at the split second that I think I want to play it, but I don't think of it like way back.
nice.
Everything comes in real time, you know. It's not like so.
Good.
I'm trying to figure that out myself. Like, how am I doing it? You know, because I'm saying I'm driving my car. I'm thinking, why am I thinking about that line? What, you know, why do I think about the notes? And I just don't know. And I think that's good not to know, so I can still have that mystery about my playing to myself.
If someone would have asked me, if someone would have asked me why you do that with certain pieces, I'd say it's his inspiration in the moment. So I'm glad you gave that answer, because that's what I thought you'd say.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it is, Paul. It's like that.
Paul, that's a really good question. And I just wanted to say, Paul, I've done plenty of gigs on piano with Greg, and I'm never looking at bus timetables. Okay,
Oh, sure.
I am loving it. I'm going, yeah, carry on this, because while he's doing the cadenza, I can like have another half pint of beer, can't I, as well? So it's really good.
Yeah, I sound better when you do that.
So thank you, Paul, for that. Any other questions from anybody at this stage? Intrigued about?
Yeah, I have one. Can I ask Greg a question?
Oh, it's Dom, yes, Dom Franks, come on.
Hey, Dom.
Hey, Greg, man, how you doing? Really, it's so lovely to hear you talk about your music, man. Really good to see you.
Thank you.
But I wondered if I've got loads of questions, but I wondered if I could ask about your own tunes, your own composition. So, do you feel different on stage when you're playing one of your own melodies as opposed to when you're playing a standard? Like, do you approach original music differently?
I do it, but I'm trying to figure out what it is that I do. That's a good question. I try to play honestly on both of the tunes, but I think maybe when I'm playing someone else's tune, I'm enjoying it. I wouldn't play the tune if I didn't like it. So, you know, when I do my tunes, it's like I have to like feel like I've got to get the band together. Like it's like more of an effort to get that happening. You know. I think it's a hard question to answer, really, Dom. I don't know.
I know it's a really open one. Is it because you have an idea in your head of how your tune should sound and you're trying to get that across the band, or is it different to that?
Well, it's like most people may not know my original music right there because they haven't heard the tune. But I mean, if I'm playing like When Sunday Gets Blue, like I know that the tune is a great tune, so you know I have that vehicle to play on. So with my music, I try to make it a good vehicle to play. Like I take really time to write music, it's just I don't want to just write something. Like I sit for hours on a tune and just try to make it right. I wrote a ballad yesterday. I like it. But
yeah. I love that bossa you wrote a while ago that you I think you shared on social media. It was beautiful. It was the one that was kind of Wayne Shorter-ish. Such a lovely tune.
Thank you. That's a soprano tune.
Yeah, earlier in lockdown. It's really nice. You going to record that one?
Maybe in the future. Yeah, I'd love to do it.
Oh, you should. It's great.
I'm kind of confused with all the tunes I've been writing because this time I've been home. It's like I've got a lot of new tunes that I want to put together and present them, you know, and have the band play it with me, whatever band. I play with different musicians, like on tour I'll be playing with a different trio like sometimes every night, or you know, sometimes I'll get the same trio, come back to it. Like in England, I'll be with one group and then next night I'm somewhere else. but I made so many friends in different parts of the world, and it's the great players I've been playing with. England's been good to me. It's really been really great.
We do our best.
Yeah,
So,
England loves you, and the cadenzas,
So,
particularly.
Dom, thank you for your excellent question. I wanted to ask a question as well now, Greg, which was about if you were talking about the kind of more esoteric stuff before, but I wanted to draw it back. What it's like to be a jazz player. What the question is, if you think of a jazz master, whoever a jazz master might be, what human characteristics do you think that the jazz master needs to be a jazz master? What is it what is about you, your human nature, the human characteristics? What do you need to have to be able to play great jazz? What can you answer?
I think that a good technique, a good knowledge of harmony, and to be able to be honest. And
So it's the honesty
what?
thing that is interesting there.
Yeah,
Greg.
so I think God-given things that we're born with. We don't know. We don't. Everybody that does some with their own career or their own things that they do, they find along the way new things. They'll say, "Yeah, I got that. I didn't know. Let me use that. That's really good. Thank you." Taking criticism from other musicians or advice. I think that's all part of it. And
Yeah.
And to not think of yourself as anything special, or having humility, and I think to
Yeah.
be able to share honesty with another musician or a student, it's like really joyful to do that when you see that happening. It's really cool.
Yeah, so that's a great answer because I would say the same thing about humility and about not having a big ego. I think it's really interesting. And I just wondered, do you think we should have jazz on the curriculum for every school on the planet?
Oh, I think so. I think music in general, like classical music and like jazz, I think it's very. I think it puts people in a nice place.
Yeah.
It's full of love usually. Like it's like there's nothing there that's malice or destructive. It's like it's really just good.
Yes. Yeah. And
But
and
I think Carrie's here, my girlfriend. So she's coaching me along the way. No,
and
it's like it helps the brain. She says to be able to learn things. Like for kids to play, it's like they say music makes you smarter. That quote,
yeah, yeah. Kerry's good. She's doing a good job. And I think you won't believe this, but I think Paul's got another question.
I've got a question, but I'd just like to follow on from yours. That when
Hey Paul,
like,
can you speak a little slower? I'm getting used to your accent.
when
It's
I
Liverpool.
when I've seen Greg play, the many times that I have, one of the things that strikes me the most is the drive behind every gig. And to me, that's something, I don't mean this in a religious context, but to me, that's something spiritual. It's like, it's almost as though he was born to do this. And the drive and the dedication that he's put into his career, which is clear to see from all the gigging that he does.
Yeah.
It's something that it's kind of deeper, if you know what I mean, than what you might call an ordinary pursuit. There's something going on.
You're right, Paul. It is.
Anyway.
Yeah, Paul. Because you're exposing your feelings to people. Like when I'm playing at home, I'm with myself playing. And like I've been since this whole thing happened. I've been looking at my music like every day. Like I haven't been out doing my life and what I do. It's like almost like a loss of. It's like a death almost to me, like a loss. It's been really hard. But I see, like my horns set up. I get all my horns. I've been playing that and playing a little piano. So when I see them, I say, "Gee, I'm realizing what I've been doing for my life."
Yeah.
It's like.
The question, who would you say? Because I love drums. I love jazz drumming.
Yeah.
I can do all other kinds, but I can't do jazz drumming. Who would you say are the standout drummers that you've ever played with? And who do you think is the greatest ever jazz drummer? For me, there's only one answer to that, but I won't tell you yet.
Well, I like playing with Billy Hart and Ben Riley, Elvin Jones, and they're sort about, you know, really big name drummers, you know. But I mean, it's because they have like a more famous name. I mean, they deserve it. They're wonderful, and But I play with a lot of drummers all over the world that I don't know. I'm looking at this now as everybody's got something to offer. It's not like, you know, if you reach a level, you're going to be playing with someone that's hopefully on that same level or on the way to it, you know. So, and they bring you to it. The more you do, the more you come up to it. There's so many drummers I played with. But those three come to mind. Mickey Roker and
Elvin Jones.
Yeah, well, Elvin, yeah.
Yeah.
It was incredible playing with Elvin because I was with Hank Jones and Elvin in the car in Moscow, Idaho. We're in the hotel, and I said to the promoter, I said, like, I got to get to the gig, right? He said, oh, they got the cars coming. It's like, just stand over there with Elvin and Hank and go with them. I said, really? So this is the first time I actually met Elvin Jones and Hank.
Fantastic.
And Lionel Hampton, too. So we're driving to the gig, and it was an agricultural college, and there's animals there. They do experiments on it. They have these cows there where they have their stomachs are exposed, and you can see the glass. The glass is on their body. It's weird. And Hank says, hey, Elvin, look at the cows up there. They look weird. I said, so, you know, they were all, so I'm riding with them and then hearing all the stuff, and there's like an education right there on the ride down, you know, to the gig. And then we get to the gig and we do a sound check, and I did a tune with them, and I said to Hank, you know, I said, wow, Elvin's really, the guy, he almost played me right off the bandstand, of course. And he says, yeah, he doesn't listen to anybody but himself. He says, just do it, just play, and don't worry about a thing. It was like, I mean, there's so many stories I could say, but, you know.
That's a good story, Greg. And Greg, I'm interested to know, Paul didn't tell us his answer either to the original question.
It's got to be Louis Belson for me.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah. I play with Louis, too. I'm not dropping names, but I played with Louis Belson in Philadelphia. He was the greatest guy, too. And I was with Claudio Roditi, and we were doing this gig in Philadelphia. And Louis Belson was the drummer.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, Greg, at this point, I want to do something interactive with everybody, because to choose the next song that Greg's going to play, I'm going to ask you all a question. Let me see if I can do this right now. Can you see that on your screens?
Yes.
I can't. I see.
Yes.
I see all you lovely people, but I don't see anything.
Well, now I want people to vote. What instrument should Greg play on his next song? A tenor sax, an alto sax, a soprano sax, or his flute? There we go. So the votes are coming in. It says that we've had... okay, the votes are going up. I'll show you the results in a minute. This is very exciting. I can see in real time what's happening. It says, okay, 16 out of 29 votes. We've got a few more to go. I'm taking your votes now. Oh, it's very interesting. This, Greg, you're gonna like this.
How many people are we? How many people are with us today? I can only see 12 at a time.
It says there are 30 people on the call at the moment.
Yeah,
So, we've got a few more people that need to vote. If you can see how to do that. Let's have a look. We're almost there. If you haven't already voted, I'm going to give you another few seconds. The votes are still coming in. Just to remind you, what are you voting for? Which instrument should Greg play on his next song? So I hope you've got all these instruments there. In fact, I should say, I wanted to add to the list a few more, because I know that Greg likes to play the Filipino nose flute and the bagpipes and the Chinese lute. but I didn't add those to the list. I wasn't sure if we had them at hand today.
But I have the loot.
Plays the mean ocarina.
Right. Now this is really interesting. I'm going to assume that everyone's voted. I'm going to end the poll and share the results with you. This is kind of interesting because we've got a bit of a draw. Hang on a minute. I'm going to now. Can you see that, everybody?
Wow.
We've got 26% wanting to the tenor sax, but 26% wanting the alto, and 26% wanting the soprano. So we're not very. This isn't very good, is it? But the flute came last. So Greg, I'm gonna have to ask you to decide. It's got to be a saxophone that they want. But which one would you like to play?
I'll play a little tenor.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Okay.
I'm closing the poll. That was exciting. And Greg, what would you like to play?
Well, I'll take requests, but I can't do 26 requests. So I don't know what.
Does anybody have a request?
He knows what I'm going to ask for.
What's that? Yeah. Greg Abate.
Hey, thanks. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I was working on these new reeds. They were pretty good. I'm surprised that that it played that well. Right, feeling really good. And I noticed about playing, you have to keep on it. Like if you let things go, I did for the first couple of weeks. I didn't play much because I was kind of like shell shocked is the word, because I had all these cancellations. You know, they kept canceling one after another, and I was kind of went into a little depression. I didn't play, and then when I started to play, my chops were like, I had, you know, the muscles were not there. It was like hard. It was really scary. I paralyzed like lips, you know, and like I'm saying, well, I just gonna have to go for it and keep playing a little bit each day to build up like muscular. The muscles again, and now they're back again, and I feel really good. And I've got a gig next week in Bristol, Rhode Island, at a place called Blythewald, and then I've got some other things coming up. And I'm building up to do this recording with Kenny Barron in the trio, and I'm really excited to do it. We're doing it at the famous Rudy Van Gelder studio. It did all the Blue Note work, all the great with all those great players like Train and all those guys.
Gonna
But
be
I
great.
mean, I was there once before with Claudio Roditi, rest in peace, my dear friend, trumpet player from Brazil. We in 1998 we had played there, and it's a recording, uh, Samba Manhattan Style. It's a real burning Latin album with we recorded there at Van Gelder's. So this will be my second time to go there, but it's my record this time. You know, it's my own. And the Kenny Barron Trio is going to be there with me.
It's gonna be
So
great. It's gonna be
yeah,
amazing.
so I'm doing all Kenny Barron music, and I've arranged it and done some Greg Abate harmony in there. And I talked to Kenny on the phone. I said, you know, I don't want, you know, you're giving me freedom with your tunes, you know, and I hope you'll like it. He said, oh, whatever you do, we'll check it out. I'm sure it's going to be fine. So he's giving me all this liberty. So I've got like intros, interludes,
Brilliant.
reharmonizations going on. It's a 13 songs I've worked on of
Brilliant.
Kenny's for this record.
And a few cadenzas along the way. So,
Yeah,
Greg, I wanted to ask you because
Tommy.
we're
Tommy.
we're coming close to the end now. And I just wanted to get philosophical with you. Can I get philosophical?
Yeah, I'll do the best I can.
So now I haven't. You don't know I'm going to ask you this, but I thought I'd surprise you. And I'm calling this kind of final part of our discussion the golden nugget. Now, what do I mean by the golden nugget? The golden nugget is something about what really matters in the world. What really matters in the world. And the first question I've got to you is, what advice would you give yourself about what really matters? Now, this could be a jazz answer. It could be a life answer. What really matters? What advice would you give yourself right now about what really matters in the world?
Well, it all goes back to honesty to me. You know, like my album on. I think Tony put it up there. Can you have that album, Tony?
I got it.
Can you read the quote in the back for everybody?
Yeah, without boundaries, dedicated to the earth and all the people in the hope that we will someday live in peace together, sharing prosperity, united by one channel of positive energy.
Thank you.
Good answer. That was good. So you were prepared for this question. You wrote the answer many years ago. And that's a brilliant answer, Greg, because I was going to ask you, but I think you've answered it. My second question was, what advice would you give everybody else about what really matters? But it's the same advice, isn't it, I guess?
Yeah, in a way that I'm not preaching, you know, but I mean, like I try to just, you know, we're not perfect because we're humans, you know, but I mean, we work on that, you know. I don't know. I look at life as a learning experience, and I've had so much fun with it. I think about getting older, like it kind of bothers me because, you know, I just think that there's not as much time as there was before. So, and now with this whole breakdown with this virus, like what I said, looking at my horns when I'm in my house, like it's like revealing to me my life. And then I've had all this stuff that I'm looking at, like posters from different places I played, and I'm seeing my kids' photos when they were younger, and I'm noticing everything, and it's more like I'm taking like some sort of drug that's making me like feeling all these feelings, you know. I don't know how you folks feel. Sentimental, really, yeah. And you know, I'm kind of that way anyway, normally, like, but now I'm super like sensitive to everything, you know.
Yeah, well, it's good.
I love people, you know, you guys.
Yeah, Greg, it's a good answer. And my last philosophical question to you, Greg, was if you could give the world a gift, what would it be?
Like my quote, I like that, to be peace and like people doing the right thing. You know, the right thing is some people, well, what's the right thing? I think the right thing has to be the right thing. Is no, you know, we all try to do the right thing. Hopefully, like you, be kind to people, and just do that.
Good. Greg, I've decided you're the Yoda of jazz.
What's up,
You're the
Alex?
Yoda of jazz. If the world was like Star Wars, you are Yoda. I don't know if you know Star Wars. You are Yoda. So, we're kind of coming to the end. Let me ask: has anybody else got any particular questions before we finally go on to one last piece of?
I just want to tell everyone, Connie and I listen to Greg all the time. He knows that, and we also listen to him on our Amazon device. But if you want to listen to Greg on Amazon, you have to ask for Greg Abate.
I know it.
They don't know how to say Greg Abate. So if you're looking for Greg on Amazon Alexa, ask her to play Greg Abate.
Yeah, you know, Tony.
Thanks for that, Tony.
Yeah, you know, Tony, that's true, and I'm glad that you mentioned that because I was gonna try to do that. Someone reminded me to say that. My friend Ken Kroll from California, yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know how that could be other way, but I don't know if people are asking Alexa for me. But if they're saying Abate, you know, they got a lot of recordings on there. It's weird. How am I going to get around that?
That's good. I'm glad you told us that though, because I'm always on Alexa. So let me say at this point, are there any other final comments or questions before we start doing?
I've got a question.
Oh, Tommy Scott, yeah, come on.
Hi, Greg. I just
Hi,
wondered,
Tommy. Hey,
have you got the rest of your lineup for your record? Who's in Kenny's trio apart from Kenny?
It's Desron Douglas on bass.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Blake on drums.
Oh yeah. I saw them at Ronnie's in February, and Kenny and Jonathan Blake, they sounded great.
I know it. They're great.
I
saw them in Camden, Maine last June. But Kenny, I recorded with Kenny Barron on a Candid Records in 1998, and the title of the CD is Bop Lives. And I know Tony and and Connie have all my recordings, and most so I was on the bill, as they say, at Camden. It was beautiful. I love Maine, so going out there. And Kenny Barron was the headliner, and my quartet was playing right before Kenny. And so when I came in, they were doing a sound check, and I went up to Kenny. I said, "Hey, great to see you again. Here's the CD we did like back in 1998." And he says, "Yeah, man, I got that, but thank you." And I signed it for him and everything. And then on the intermission, I asked him if he'd consider doing another record with me. He says, "Yeah, we'll do it. Have your record company give me a call." And so I'm recording with Whaling City Sound. They've been treating me like really, really well. I'm really blessed to have them. This will be my 5th recording with Whaling City, and so that's how this record came about. But just to be there, in Camden playing, and so I remember we played in Kenny. In the dressing room after my set. I went down there before they were going, and then Kenny says, "Man, I don't know where you get that energy."
Brilliant, good question.
I said, "Well, you should know."
That's that question. It's going to be a great recording there. And I've got John there. You'll have to unmute yourself, John, and then ask us your question or make your comment. That's it.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to say, Greg, how you doing? And there's been a lot of discussion about energy here, and of course, being in Rhode Island, I got to see a number of times, which is great. Actually, I'm a former student of Greg's. We're the same age. We had a rather strange way we met, but Rhode Island's a small state, but believe it or not, I don't know everybody in Rhode Island. So, but anyway, the question of energy. Almost on a cosmic level. I saw Greg twice play live with the recently deceased Richie Cole.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You can't imagine how much energy came off that stage. I saw him at Chan's, and I saw him at another club. Actually, when they did their CD release many years ago. And you talk about energy feeding off, 1 and 1 don't make a hell of a lot more than 2 when you get a couple of musicians like that together. It's just amazing. Yeah. So energy is magnified when you interact with other musicians, and my musical energy, be it as it is, really was improved when I was taking lessons from Greg. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, John. really great to see you here. Thank you, guys. You know, playing like with different musicians. Like I play with a lot of like energized players, like in England. Like you know, well, Alex plays with a lot of energy. Tommy Scott plays with a lot of energy. Like Alan Barnes, you know, I got to play with great players like Alan Barnes and Peter King. Alto, talk about burning alto.
Yeah, great.
Peter King is, you know, one of the greatest, I think, and Alan Barnes and Bruce Adams, all these great players in the UK. I have this in my mind that I missed this year, and
It'll
it's
come
been
back.
great.
That's a really good, you know, good answer, good question. And you won't be surprised to know that Paul's got a question.
Yeah, I'll just,
Oh no,
just following on from that, I've seen Alan play many times. I've seen Greg play many times, but it's to see the two of them playing together is out of this world for me. It's always something to really look forward to, and
Brilliant.
I always look out on Greg's gigs list when he comes to England to see if he's playing with Alan, and even if it's in another part of the country, I always try and get there. But my little story, I'll keep it really short. My friends and I, Dave was showing Greg around Liverpool about 6 or 7 years ago, and we were in a pub down by the lava buildings, down by the river. There was a big screen on behind us, and they had something like MTV on, and some fella comes on supposedly singing, and it's that style of music that they call R&B, but it's got nothing to do with R&B. I personally hate it. And Greg, he got about halfway through the first verse, and Greg just said, "Oh man, oh no man, I can't listen to this, man. I gotta leave." And I said, "I'm with you all the way." And the two of us stood up and walked out, and my friend was like, "Where you going?" She said, "You'll have to drink up or off. We're not listening to that." And I proved to be watching for all Greg's taste in music.
Good. So that goes back to Greg's comment about honesty. You know, if you don't like it, don't put up with it. So listen, I'd like to thank you, all of you, for being here. I'd like to make a few final.
Me too.
And we're going to have one more piece of music, which I'm going to play from the gig from the Cafe Lena. But just to say, first of all, a big round of applause, and I'm very grateful to Mr. Greg Abate for being here, spending time with us.
Thank you, everybody. I'm really honored that it's good to see you all, and I wish you all the best. You know, see you soon, everyone.
Well, Greg will be back in the UK.
Stay healthy. That's what I want to say. Thanks, Neil. I see you, man.
And Greg, of course, will be gigging. The gigs, I guess, are opening in the US at the moment as well.
I've got to say one thing about Alan Barnes and me. We did a recording at the YMCA Leicester Theater, and it's called "Birds of a Feather," and it was really, really burning, man. Like if you look that up, "Birds of a Feather."
And I was going to say, Greg, if anybody wants to get hold of CDs, they just need to go to your website, don't they? Is that right?
Yeah, I have most of my copies. I had some of my earlier CDs been repressed, and like, I on my website, gregabate.com.
Yeah.
And they can be digitally downloaded, or I can mail the CD, to you signed if you like, or just keep the shrink wrap on it. Yeah, that's my website, and I appreciate that.
And just also to say, Greg, of course, for musicians amongst everybody, you teach, don't you? I know you have some academic posts, and you probably teach on Zoom and Skype as well, do you?
Yes, I do. I haven't been doing much of that. I teach at a college, but at Rhode Island College as an adjunct jazz. They call me an adjunct jazz professor, but I 2 days a week, and I was my life with my touring. Like it'd be coming home on a Monday night from, on the road, flying in, and then go to teach on Tuesday. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'm not teaching there this semester because of they're not having classes. So yeah. I would like to have more students, not only financially, but because I need that interaction with people
So,
you know,
so if anybody on the
it's like-
call is interested, or you know anybody
Yeah.
that needs some inspiration, get in touch with Greg through his website. And
yeah, I see all you, John. Thanks all you folks for tuning in today.
that's okay. And Greg, a couple final comment because we're going to play one more piece of music from that gig. I just wanted to say the Greg Abate tip jar. If you know how to use either PayPal or Venmo, all you need to go on there is put Greg's email address in, and you have to select family and friends because Greg is like family or friends. And Greg's email address is gregonalto@gmail.com. gregonalto@gmail.com. And yeah, and if you like, I'll send an email out to everyone to remind you of that afterwards as well with all the links. So that'd be good.
Well,
And
thank you all for tuning in.
and it occurred to me, Greg, that we need a sequel because there's two things I forgot to ask you, but you can't answer them now. One is, what's the secret of Stonehenge? We still don't know, but you know.
Oh,
And
well, I know
secondly,
that, yeah.
don't tell us the answer because that's for part two. And secondly, you told me once that you once spent part of your life living in the woods with a blowgun and a bow and arrow, and I've no idea what that part of your history is. So I'm going to
That's
leave
true.
that hanging there. We're not going to, because he was like Tarzan or Grizzly Adams. Don't answer it now. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play one more clip for you from that recording, and then we'll
That's
come
true.
back for the final couple of minutes to say goodbye. So don't go away just yet. We're almost there, even though we're running a bit late. Greg likes this story. Did Kerry know you then, by the way, Greg, when you lived in the woods with your bow and arrow?
No.
That was before Kerry.
I lived in the woods and I had a bow and arrow, and I used to had a blowgun
Not
too.
many. By the way, if any of you are authors, we're looking for someone to write Greg's life story, so that might be tempting. Quite good. So I'm going to play one more track. This
Yeah,
track.
next time I talk to you, I'll give you the secret of Stonehenge.
Yeah, don't tell them now. So this is the track I want to play for you is Bop Lives, another
All right.
of Greg's compositions, also with the Chuck Lamb Trio at Cafe Lena from last year. I'm just going to play you the saxophone solo, then I'll come back and we'll sign out for a couple of minutes at the end.
Hey, thank you, folks.
Bravo.
So the great Greg Abate in action, and hopefully we'll get Greg back live. Certainly, I'm running 2 jazz clubs in Cheltenham, and we're going to get Greg here. And actually, because you were talking about Greg and Alan Barnes, I think we'll get them both down here, especially for Paul. So listen, I'm very grateful for you all being here. If anybody has any final questions, you're welcome to fire away. We're going to be here for 1 more minute. Otherwise, all I would just say to you is thank you so much.
Thank you
for being here. And thank you. The comment from Dom there, he said, what did he say? Philosophy, intensity, and bows and arrows. What more could you ask for? Bravo. So thank you all very much. If you have any other ideas for people I should interview, let me know. Tommy Scott was the first experiment who's on the call here right now. We looked at his brain. Today we've looked at Greg Abate's brain, and what a brain you've got. That's been very remarkable. So thank you all for being here. And whatever time it is, in whichever part of the world you're in, have a lovely day. It might be time for Greg to have his second breakfast now, and time for me to have my second lunch.
I didn't know you said robots answering, Greg.
We love you, Alex.
We love you guys.
Take
Thank
care,
you so
Greg.
much, everyone.
Greg.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Alex. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Alex. Peace.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks very much, Greg.
God bless.
Thank you. Hey, John, Gemma, everybody.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Greg. That was awesome.
Take care, man.
Hey, Ray. Hey, thanks. See you guys there.
All right, man.
Thank you, Greg.
Take care,
Thank
Greg.
you. Thanks for letting me be creative. You know, you bring the energy out of me.
That's cool, man. That's great. It's good. I haven't switched off it because when I switch off, we all disappear. So I'm just kind of waiting for everyone to disappear. But maybe people won't disappear. We'll just be waving for the next half an hour. You see who the serious jazz dudes are who's still on the screen. My dad's still here.
Jay Tracy was on.
Was he?
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, everybody's still playing, practicing. You know, keep blowing the air in there.
They are. Look at that. So between us,
Hey, Mike.
we know everyone on the
That's
planet.
great.
So between us, we had 50% of the planet came from you and 50% came from me. We had 100%. That was awesome. Right. So Greg, I will sign off now because
Okay.
but when I press stop, we're all going to disappear. Thanks for everyone that's still here. Greg, we can talk again later if you like. We'll have a call on FaceTime or something. But thank you for doing that. That was awesome.
Thanks, Alex, for arranging this. Well done, man. You're very good.
It's cool. Cool.
Thank you.
You know
Thank-
what? As well as the book about your life, we need our own TV show.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we can interview other people who come on.
Yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
be great. I
Let's
think
do
we
that.
should have a show bringing fans on, people that love to go hear music, and
Yeah.
ask them, get into their
Gonna be
brain
great.
to see what they like.
Leave that with me,
Yeah,
Greg. We'll have a TV show. Well, we'll broadcast. Well, you sort out the American broadcaster, and I'll sort out the UK broadcaster. It's gonna be amazing.
Hey, before I go, I want to just say, I know, like playing the different, playing. I miss all you people in England and in the States where I play, and I really appreciate you coming to the gigs and for hiring me.
It's a pleasure. We can't help it. We just love you too much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. See you guys. I'm signing off.
See you later.
Thanks for being here.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye, Greg.
Bye.
Bye, Alex.